and I'm pleased to speak on this urgency motion today because, as an accountant who measures things all the time, I know that what gets measured gets improved, and what gets watched and is transparent improves performance. And yet here we have another example of the Albanese government failing to uphold the principles of transparency and accountability. Now, why on earth would you have a company like Qantas, which is a very large, large market share, dominates the market here in Australia, why would you exempt them from ACCC monitoring? Why would you do that? And the question has to be asked, why has the Prime Minister— the Prime Minister could step in if he wanted to and make sure and hold Qantas accountable. And if any company needs to be held accountable at the moment, it is Qantas. I mean, we've got so many abuses of market share and market privilege recently by Qantas that it really needs to be called out on its intolerable behaviour. Not the least is that it has been taking bookings for flights that have already been cancelled. Now, that is just shocking. And then last week we found out that they had to reverse the decision that they weren't going to actually honour the $500 million in credits as a result of the COVID crisis, where people had to cancel their flights, and Qantas decided to put an arbitrary deadline that you had to use your own credits by, I think it was the end of this year, or you're just going to lose them. Well, why should Qantas, who got bailed out by the taxpayer like many big corporations did— yet again, the big end of town always milks these catastrophes or so-called catastrophes for their own gain. I mean, I thought the point of democracy was to stand up for the little guy against the big guy, but not anymore. Not anymore in this country. No. It's always the big guy that gets the free handouts. And the Prime Minister— why would the Prime Minister, who used to stand up— I mean, I thought the Labor Party used to stand up for the little guy, the battlers. But it's not interested in that. Under the Prime Minister, he is more interested in whining and dining with the big end of town than he is in protecting the little guys. The little guy just wants to fly to another state to see his grandmother or grandfather, or go to his mate's wedding. Why can't we have a system whereby we get a fair go in this country for the people that want to travel? It's a big country. We need genuine competition in airfares in this country, and we are not getting it. We are not getting it. And what is the relationship between the Prime Minister and the former CEO of, as of 5 o'clock today, an hour ago, Alan Joyce? Why did Alan Joyce give the Prime Minister's son access to the Captain's Lounge, Chairman's Lounge? What was going on there? What was going on with the Emirates deal? Was that all done so that Qantas would then give free flights to all these people that want to fly around the country with The Voice? Is this something that we need to refer to ICAC? Is this something that we need to refer to ICAC, where the Prime Minister has actually done a deal with Mr Joyce in order to influence the outcome of the referendum? That is a question that needs to be asked. But the other question we need to point out, or the other issue that we need to highlight, is the consistent pattern of failing to properly inform the Australian people and shine a light on the functions of the Albanese government. Because this isn't the only time that we have seen the Albanese government not want to come clean on how the country is being run. I know my colleague here in the chamber, Senator Cadell, has tried to get an inquiry up into the transmission lines, the impact of transmission lines on the environment. We have asked for details on aged care. We have asked for the minutes on National Cabinet. I mean, Prime Minister Albanese said if he got into government, he would release the minutes of National Cabinet. Hasn't done that. Hasn't done that. He's also said that he would also lower electricity prices. Now, we want the Productivity Commission to report on electricity prices, to have a standard benchmarking. Did he support that? No. Another example of where he doesn't want to be transparent about the way this country is run. The other thing he said, he'd have a Royal Commission into COVID. Has he honoured that pledge? No. So it is another example
of the Prime Minister not being fully transparent and accountable to the Australian people.
Authorised G. Rennick, LNP Chermside.